Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. Look at that. Tiffany Bryan beat us. Look at we haven't even introduced ourselves, but Tiffany is on. So good morning, Tiffany. So good morning, everyone. And I am the Badass Buddha, Dr. Lori Monaco, welcoming you as half of a fabulous team to Viva Cafe con Leche. We hope you had an absolutely wonderful, incredible, very fulfilling weekend. So start this week with us, holiday weekend. So we are the first of the first day of the week. So welcome. I am coming to you live from Southern Connecticut.
She sounds like she's reading a prompter.
I know, right? I am coming to you live from Southern Connecticut. It is very chilly out and feels fantastic.
Is it?
Sunny out. Yeah, but it's beautiful. It's like a beautiful fall, crispy, lovely, and it's sunny. And so, yes, I am your chiropractic physician, your speaker, teacher, coach, specializing in mindfulness practice and transformation and authenticity. And yes, buenos dias. Good morning, Chanel, real deal. Okay, my beautiful co-host.
Hola, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita this beautiful morning that I woke up 15 minutes late. So my hair's still wet from my shower, but we're going to make it work because we be popping up like slut magic at every hour and any day, and we make it happen. And that's what we're supposed to be doing all the time, right? It's making it happen. I feel like I look dark. Good morning, Tiffany Bryan, Chanel. Listen, there was a little thing with you lying in my boxes. I'll re-announce it later when more of the tribe is on. But hopefully, as soon as we get off the show, the boxes are here, and then I can ship everybody's items out. And I'm so excited. So excited. So, I might have some questions for each one, so I'll contact you individually before I ship. But I am La Margarita. I am your sacred healer, your spiritual and creative healing life coach, your writer, your author, your artist, your wedding officiant. I am soon to be your end-of-life doula, and I'm so excited about that. Why? I don't know. Why would I be excited to become an end-of-life doula? But I am. The transition is a tricky little fucker, and I think it's so beautiful when you have guidance or when you have knowledge of how to approach that end of life of someone you love, and to believe that you have the strength to do it. I think that's my job, is to let people know that, for every ending there is a beginning, and for every beginning there is an end. To do it, I think that. We forget that somewhere along the line. So that's why I'm excited to do that and to become a part of that little collective group of learning how to say goodbye and still be okay with it. Yeah, so it gets me emotional thinking about it. But yeah, here we are. This beautiful Tuesday morning. I had a good weekend. I did ship at home. A lot of house projects.
Oh, me too.
Painting old furniture, making it look new, because I'm eclectic, and when you come in my house, you're gonna say, "Oh, an artist must live here." And yes, it is. Vinyled my refrigerator, painted the side a pretty shade of green with chalk paint, the sides of my stove with green chalk paint, so I can leave myself little loving notes. Yeah, and that's because, you know what? I'm always dressed in black, but my life is so vibrant, and my house is too, and I just have fun doing that. So good morning, Paul Richie, Chanel, Tiffany. Here we are. We have a phenomenal guest today, and the Badass Buddha is going to talk to you about what the topic is.
Oh, today's topic is owning it or blaming it. And yes, we're going to have our fabulous guest on very shortly, who we lovingly refer to her as. She refers to herself as this, but it was just so phenomenal. Our global citizen guest, Sandy LaBelle. So she's going to be on shortly, and she's going to join us in the conversation about owning it or blaming it, which is a really, really powerful conversation, because this is something that even Gladiator Guru and I have been doing a lot of coaching on with each other, because this is something that's been popping up like slut magic, just like Gladiator Guru says. and it's about whether we take accountability for ourselves and our lives, or we blame others for what's happening with us, and that's a really, really common thing. We see that a lot in our society, but I think it's become very epidemic. I think it's always everybody else's fault. We've seen it from the lowest, the bottom, like just the normal, us normal individuals, to the top of the quote, food chain, like the government. And the government's notorious for blaming everybody else. It's not it's not me. It wasn't me. It's just like that. It's just like that song, right? But so yes, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to do our intention and our mantra. But what about coffee? What are you drinking today, Gladiator Guru?
I'm drinking Cafe Pilon in my Viva mug. I know, Tiffany, you ordered two magic mugs. Yes, aside from your Viva swag. So that's awesome. Those are ready to go. And I know there were people asking about the color ones, like the Badass Buddha, and I have color ones, but those were my I'm not gonna say I wasted them, but these were my prototypes because the name didn't come out that much. This is where I was learning the temperatures. You see how the name's not really that dark. So the new ones came in. They're not all greens, blacks, reds, whatever. So I'm going to make them, and then I'm going to sell what I already made, so you get your choice. So next, I can't promise you Thursday because I'm waiting for
the boxes
to come in. No, some sayings to come in aside from our logo, aside from this one. So maybe next Tuesday, I'm going to show what I have, and whoever's on that says, I want the green, I want the pink, I want the blue, then that's who it gets a side, because that's how we'll do it. So that the white ones and the black ones, we have enough. It's just the sayings. So don't forget to put your orders in and support Viva Cafe con Leche all the time, because we cool like that. I love it. I love my mugs. I love when my brother who bought one, he'll FaceTime me way too much, and he always has his mug. So I can't even be mad at that, right? So I am drinking Cafe Pilon. And you?
I am actually drinking. I got a new one. I went to the food store, and I saw this. It was brand new coffee. It's called Chameleon Organic Coffee. It's churro flavor, cinnamon and vanilla, and it's actually really good. I love trying new stuff because you never know. And since I drink it black, generally speaking, every so often I'll put like a protein type of creamer, that's like a keto based type of creamer. But this is, I've been drinking this black, and it's really, really smooth. It's very, very good. So, I very impressed by it. So there was only like maybe 3 different bags there, like 3. So I think I'm going to try all 3 or whatever's there and give it a shot, but it's good. Plus I like chameleons. I like the front.
Yeah,
although I do.
The whole package is attractive.
Yeah, it is, right?
It's attractive. Yeah. The only flavoring in my coffee I like is like the cloves, the fresh cloves I put in my grounds when I'm actually brewing it. I tried a flavor. I have to bring the bag on Thursday. It's in the kitchen. I just can't. But I see that when you freshly ground coffee, brewed, I can drink black straight up. But the ones we get off the shelf, like the bricks I buy, they're old. What's that?
They are.
Yes, I know. It's just okay. It's coming. And so, yeah. But I love people who like flavor, because I don't. And I like my coffee dark and bitter. But I starting on Thursday, right? Saturday, it's only black coffee from here. So I might have to get one of those brands if you're saying it's smooth and you can drink it without any kind of sweeteners or lighteners. Okay, let's do this.
So let's see. Good morning, Argenis. And let's do a quick shout out to two of the tribe members who are either not feeling well or going through some stuff. So Kim Sanchez, we miss you. We hope you feel better. We know that you're not feeling too well. And Iris, we love and just light to you.
Is she not on?
Iris? I haven't seen her.
Lisa. No, she's not on. She would have said hi. Yes, so buenos dias, good morning. And we'll do the affirmation now because I'm anxious to hear this. I'm blaming it or owning it from Miss LaBelle.
Okay, so let's do our intention. So the intention for today is, so we're setting the intention today that today I will, throughout my day, I will be strong, determined, and oh my God, I totally forgot it. Strong and determined and powerful. Let's just leave it at that because even when you do the wrong thing, you can still choose and make a different choice. So strong, determined, powerful, and life is my choice. How about that? So life is my choice. If you are not satisfied with the direction of your day today, then redo your day.
That's it.
That's
Stop, it. Breathe, and take a view. That the beauty of you is that you can make a choice to change. That's the beauty of it. What's my mantra? I am the me who sees the me who knows. So I either own it or I blame it because I am the one who sees the me who knows.
Nice. Okay. Good morning, Michelle Houston. Good morning, Milagros Medina. Good morning. Edith's on there. She is. Good morning, Editha.
Good morning, Editha.
We're happy that you're here. Yes. So, and listen, just remember too that for the tribe, if you know of any tribe members that are going through anything, or if they're not feeling well, make sure that you let us know so that we could give them a loving shout out and the whole tribe could throw some love and light their way. And Michelle says she's listening in my car on her way to work. Yay. How's that going, Michelle? I think you started last week, right? Or was it this week? Was it this Monday? I can't remember when you said you started. So I apologize for that. But yes, let me just finish writing a few people here.
Michelle, and stay happy throughout your day because people are assholes and they might try to take you down a different alley.
Yes, and they drive like assholes too. Like, I'm like, God, people definitely forgot how to drive.
Yes. And own it. Don't blame because of them I'm having a bad day. No, they're just assholes and I gotta stay in my lane. That's how you own it.
Absolutely. She says she loves her new job. All right. That's so we're so glad to hear that, Michelle. And I'm sure they love you. Michelle is such a joyful individual. So they are lucky to have you, my dear. All right. So
it really is. Even at my book signing, everybody was like, who is she? Everybody got to meet Michelle. So thank you. All right, go ahead.
Oh, I know. You know what, Michelle, you have to bring in so all of you that are physically going to work, make sure that you get your Viva mugs so that you can, use them at work. We don't care if you put water in them. Just, share the love and share the show. Remember to like, subscribe, share, get people to subscribe. We are going to do a little bit of a challenge for the group coming up probably in another week. We're going to let it go and we're going to challenge you to get subscribers and you can win prizes. And because we want this to get out and get there, so Edith says, I need cafe con leche. Okay. Yes. Did you not get your coffee this morning? All right. So yes, you need.
Just rolled over and put us on.
Where's my hair? My hair is sticking in. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. See, Michelle says, I'll get a mug as soon as I get paid. Okay. No worries, Michelle. Okay. So, all right. So let's bring our guest. So let me tell you a little bit about Sandy. And I'm just going to tell you, we're going to put out how to reach her, but I'm going to read to you what she wrote when she signed up to have the pre-interview, and then she can add to this. So she said, she goes, I just had my 60th birthday and never more energized. 3 wonderful children, walked my parents and husband home 2006, 2007, 2009. So Gladiator Guru can definitely relate. Left my career in healing arts, MRI tech, to help my partner run a sightseeing company in San Francisco. Retired in 2016, traveled throughout Europe in a camper, settled in Slovenia, where we are almost done with renovations on a beautiful old Venetian with a panoramic view of the Julian Alps. A friend introduced me to a biotech company whose vision is for people to achieve optimal physical and financial health. There is abundance all around. Thrive, don't just survive. Oh, and be kind to everyone. I love how she writes that. So when we always ask our clients, we always ask the potential guests what they want to talk about. So she put relationships. Living in a camper for 4 years is intense, as well as relationships bring up messy stuff, things we need to deal with. And don't let nobody steal your joy. Body health, so much. Proactive health. This is all the things that she would love to talk about. And we're going to talk about this because owning it or blaming it, all of these things get mixed in. This is why this is really good. Proactive health, question, educate yourself, spirituality. So interesting that so many people identify as spiritual, not religious. Have attended mosques, temples, wonderful meeting with a couple of the Baha'i faith in Norway, personal development, finally at 59, Mind Valley rocks. I have lots to say. Yes, she does have lots to say. Absolutely lots to say. So let's bring Sandy on to talk about, and there's Liza. Liza finally got on. Francia, good morning. Liza, good morning. Liza's sending me text messages going, are you live? I can't find you. And Liza was out of commission because she had COVID. So she's doing fabulously well now. So there she is. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning.
Let me see if I can move my. There we go. Bobbing and weaving here.
Yay! Good morning, Sandy. So, so Sandy is currently you're in New York right now, right?
Well, actually, right now I'm in Utah.
Oh, okay. So she's early. So
Yes.
we were hoping that at least she would be still in New York on the time so that she didn't have to get up so early. But when did you go to Utah? That must have been recently, right?
Yeah, just a couple days ago.
Okay.
And you talk about, I was so jealous when you said it's a nice cool morning. It was 110 degrees when I landed and I was melting. It was crazy.
Yes, but it's a dry heat, Sandy.
Hell no. That's
It's
not
still
the
a heat, right? Right? It's still like fucking hot. Like you just opened the oven. You're like,
Where in Utah are you right now?
In St. George, a little village outside of St. George, because I'm here to do a conference for work. But I also wanted to play. I've never been out to Zion, Bryce. I've never hiked around here. And this country is beautiful.
It is.
The rocks. And
yep. It is. I was out there in the end of June, the beginning. No, I'm sorry. In Utah, I was in July. And it was, I fell in love with Moab. I absolutely love Moab, but Utah is just so pretty. I mean, if you are a hiker, mountain biker, any outdoorsy type of person, Utah is definitely the place that you want to go to and stay there for a while. Like, because the west side, the east side, north, south, it's so diverse, but it's absolutely beautiful. Yeah. It's hot as fuck out there.
It is.
It really is.
So, but it is beautiful. And I want to say thank you to you, Badass and Gladiator Guru, for creating this community for people. It is so important. When I was in Morocco, I noticed how the women, I went over there with this preconceived idea of all the poor women in there. They are together in community just the way the men are, but it is so critical to have community, to have someone that can listen to you as you're responding to all the messages in the chat. So you two are creating a beautiful thing, and it's really important for people. So thank you.
Thank you. And we didn't even tell her to say that. She
No.
said it all on her own.
And hold on, Liza, I'm so happy that you're the warrior that you are, because survival is all we have. Mamita, welcome back. I missed you.
Yes, we've definitely missed you. And we appreciate that, Sandy. We really do.
Yeah.
You know, we've there's so many people that came out in 2020 with podcasts and even 2021. And we've really talked about this because, you know, one of the things that happens when you're an entrepreneur, and even what we're doing here, is that every so often you get that imposter syndrome that pops in, and you say, well, what do we have to offer, and why are we different than anybody else? And that goes quickly with Gladiator Guru and I when we have a conversation, because we know our platform is different than most people, and to compare us to some other person's podcast or whatever, it's like comparing apples to oranges, truly, because it is different. And that's why we keep asking people to share it, because you might not get on the live show, but at least watch it at a different time. You know, I think some people really just feel the need to want to get on live, and they don't, you know, and then if they can't, they just don't bother with it. But we really, really encourage people, because everybody's in different time zones. It's too early sometimes for people to get up. We get that, but watch it at a different time, because there's so much valuable information that we share. And Gladiator Guru and I are both coaches, and we talk about this all the time, that basically 2 hours a week we provide, and along with our guests, we provide insight and information, which is coaching, that you can take with you, and we do it for free, that you can take with you and use it in your life, you know, or share it with somebody else that can use it. So we really appreciate that. And we are waiting, you know, with bated breath for this to go global. I mean, we are global in the sense that we do have people that come on from other countries, but we are really looking for that high thing. Like we've been talking about looking to go to Roku TV. These are conversations that Gladiator Guru and I have, and it's more along the lines of, you know, what do we need to do this? Because it's all new to us. So
yeah, it's always what, not can we, because I don't compare myself to nobody. Either I got it or I don't. I don't care what you have, whatever you have, utilize it, shine under that sun, because what you have and I have, we can be addressing the same issues, but we will deliver it so differently. Our energy will flow to our audiences differently. So we don't compare ourselves to nobody. I don't, because you know what? Nobody can be me. It's hard enough me being me. I'm not trying to be. So and that's how, that's what we do, and how we do it, and how we deliver it. Delivery is important. And I don't change my hats to make anybody feel comfortable. If you don't like my messages, how I'm transferring it, how I'm putting it out there, then you're not my audience. And I think that's what kept us to where we are. You know, so I believe that when everything has a timing, and when we're ready, we'll be on Roku. We'll be doing what we're doing. But tell us about you, Miss LaBelle, because I'm a gypsy. I'm a gypsy spirit.
Global citizen that Sandy is. Yes.
I was 16. I got on a Greyhound and I moved to California. And I was there 6 months with a neighbor who took me all over the place. And my first flight ever was from LA to Newark, New Jersey at 16. At 17, I lived in Miami. But prior to moving to California, I was in 3 weeks in Phoenix. And that's where I learned to eat blueberry pancakes. So I'm a gypsy and I love it. And I love that energy. Like listening to when the badass Buddha was telling me about you, I was like so excited. So go ahead.
You know, one of the things that you two ladies bring is you share with the authenticity, and you make no apologies. It's we all have a light to shine, and nobody else has that light. And by sharing it, we're telling everybody you are just as important as everyone else, because there's no one else that can share what you have. Mm-hmm. So it's incredible. Yeah, the global citizen thing. I have traveled in, over 30 countries, but really been in the neighborhoods and the little villages that I don't even remember names, but sharing our stories is so sacred, and we learn from each other. And it's interesting how many times other people will be sharing their story and it's like, wait, that's my story. And so it takes away that sense that we are different than the rest of humanity. So I think it's a wonderful thing. As far as the accountability thing, Rumi is one of my favorite poets.
Oh, he's mine.
Yeah.
He's mine.
Can we share?
You know what? I will allow it. Oh my God, Rumi and Khalil Gibran.
Oh, he's mine too.
No.
Our children are their own.
Every book of Khalil Gibran I own, and it's at my top of the bookcase, all on its own section.
Yep, The Prophet. Yeah, he's amazing. But one of Rumi's lines is, if you are irritated by every rub, how will you ever become polished? Mm-hmm. And to me, that's what accountability is. It's really just divine intervention to get us to our higher self. And when things happen that trigger us, that make us want to bring that kimono close back again, that's the portal into the next level of our being. That's the step that we take to reconnect with our inner divine. Because I believe that when we're born, we're all just these beautiful bundles of love and light and energy. And then things happen, life happens, and there's these little pricks and these little hurts that just take us away from that original sacred place. And as we go through life, we keep getting these opportunities to make our way back to that place.
Correct.
And when we look to blame others, we take a step back. But life will always give us another opportunity. That's the beautiful thing. But blaming, to me, is the most disempowering thing that we can do when we blame someone else. And it becomes habitualized, and it's concretized in society by the way that teachers are, the way that governments are, the way so many people interact. It's reinforced to blame someone else.
You're right. And as a result, it's very hard to get people to take accountability and to break that habit because, well, everybody else does it. It's like the idea of you maxing out your credit cards, applying for all these credit cards. You have $25,000 worth of credit card debt. And then you turn around and you say, well, it's not my problem. Like, I'm not going to pay it. Or the big one for me lately is the student loans, how everybody wants them all forgiven. And so now listen, this is coming from somebody who's had student loans. I came out with $120,000 worth of debt from my school. And this was back in 1999 is when I graduated. Now, there is one piece of it that back in the day, and this is interesting because I just found this out. There's a student loan forgiveness plan for those who feel that the school misled them. And it was funny because when I was in school, the financial aid lady was like, oh, just borrow the max and you live off of that so you don't have to work. And I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, I mean, you can't claim ignorance, but because but that's really my reality. But I'm not blaming that. I didn't, that was stupid. On my part, I didn't ask. I didn't do the calculations, but we were just told, no, don't worry about it. And then I come out with all this debt. And then it was really hard to pay that monthly bill plus all my normal expenses when I first graduated because I didn't have much of an income coming in. Well, anyway, so to this day, I'm still paying because I had to stop for a while, accumulated the whatever. But for me, I look at it and go, but it's my responsibility. I came out with a degree. I have to pay for that. And that's it. But for all these people who went to school and then said, oh, I just came out with $100,000 worth of debt or $80,000, but I shouldn't have to pay for it. You went to school, and that was your choice. So there are extenuating circumstances. I get that there always is, but we have to look at it that way. Like even this, there was an article that said there's been over 5 million signatures on a petition stating that they believe that the government should pay them $2,000 a month to live. And I'm like, what government is this? This is democracy or is this socialistic? It's like, why? Like, why would the government pay you $2,000 a month to live? Like, why is that okay? Because people don't okay, well, so people say they don't have jobs, they don't have this, they don't have that. We will though. There's always going to be work. It's just a matter of what we don't want to do. We don't want to take blame for our bills. We don't want to take blame for this. We don't. And I say we because I am a very accountable person. Gladiator Guru and I talked about this even just yesterday. We do have our moments though. Sometimes it is so much easier to just blame somebody else. Mm-hmm. It is just easier to take away that responsibility and say, you know what, I'll be responsible for this, but I'm not taking responsibility for that because it gets us off. We don't have to make any changes. We don't have to worry about it. And good morning, Michelle Lanoison. Good morning, Michelle. But let's talk about this. So owning it or blaming it. It's empowering to own it, disempowering to blame it. So why do we struggle with this so much? Aside from the fact that the social norm is that, but even Gladiator Guru and I talk about it, there's certain pieces that will own it, and yet we still don't take action on it sometimes. Like she and I were talking about how we've been in a funk for the last couple of weeks. We've been very not pushing ourselves to do much, right? And we both are talking about this. Why is this going on? Both of us have been dealing with some sorrow, some sadness, whatever. All these emotional things have been coming up. We've become very stagnant. So we owned it. Okay, that's on me. But then it sits there. So sometimes it's not just owning it. It's also, you have to own it, but then you also have to move forward and take the action on it. So let's talk about that in-between piece of owning it, the blaming it, and then moving.
Getting it done.
Yeah.
That's the in-between. Blaming it, owning it, and you come in the middle and you say, let's get shit done. We got to push through this, right? Give me your view on it.
For me, I think that what comes up is the need to be forgiving to ourselves. It's just so difficult, and it's so easy to blame ourselves in a way and shame ourselves. And I have a daughter that has an addiction problem. And it's so easy for me to say, okay, what did I do? And I have done that. And yet at the same time, there needs to be a gentleness that we give ourselves that we would afford to anyone else. And I think in that space, it's protecting those gentle parts of ourselves that are the ones that are probably hiding in oh my God, did I do that? And you have to give, I think you have to give that part of you space and understanding and empathy. And I think empathy is at the core of being able to work through this stuff that comes up around shame when we look at parts of ourselves that is less than loving or less than respectful or less than living up to our true inner divine.
Absolutely. Forgiveness is key, and when we hold on to it, we're creating little pockets of resentment and anger, and it's all our fault. It's like nothing can happen to us unless we allow it. So when we hold on to resentment, and I learned this after my mom's passing, when we hold on to resentment or anger from an ex or from a situation that we did not, I love confrontation. People look at it as though that's a troublemaking word. I love confrontation. Like, I will be at your door. Can you come outside? We need to talk. Even if we're just talking and clearing the ear. I don't do phone and I don't do text messages. I've always been a knock because I love to read body language because that tells you more than the mouth, right? That's one. But two is confrontation to me is so healthy. People who are insecure about themselves cannot confront an issue whether I did wrong and if I did something wrong, I want a confrontation because I want to apologize face to face. So I think that when we hold on to those things, you know, we are taking away the beauty of our life, our courage. You know, we're stripping away the lessons that lead to wisdom because we are not falling, experiencing the fall, and then getting up stronger and wiser, not better, because we're always good. But we fail ourselves to the point where we blame it. It's everybody's fault why we're not doing what we should be doing. It's everybody's fault why we're not where we are supposed to be at. And the bottom line is we are at the core of our life. So either we make it or we break it, but it's still the decisions we chose or the indecision that we chose at that point in our lives. The only thing I can say to anybody who's, because I've done it, I'm marron, let me tell you. I don't blame anyone but myself. But I'll get mad and say, look at this bitch. Fuck.
But sometimes it is like we only can take accountability for our own thing, but there's always other people that are involved, you know, and that's the key thing is, you know, like, I mean, the situations that have happened in my life, which I'm not going to mention right now in this moment, but I took accountability for this pieces of it, but the things that have happened to me in the last few years or the few years ago had other people involved, and they have to be accountable to what they did to have contributed to the situation that I had gone through. So it's but that's it. My big annoyance, my pet peeve are those that they're purposefully manipulative in the sense of they know that it's the in thing to take accountability. So they'll do it and they'll take a minimal accountability and then quickly whip it around and then blame other people. And I see this, I've become very acutely aware of this. I have family members that do this. I have people in my life that do this, that they'll start to say that they did this wrong. But then all of a sudden, as soon as they hook you in, then they switch it. They flip the story and it becomes the other person, and then they focus on the other person. And what happens is that if you're not really paying attention, you'll get caught up in it and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's really terrible that they did it. And next thing you know, you walk away and you go, wait a minute, what just happened? and that's the piece that I'm tired of, because again,
it's still
I'm sorry.
Choices. No. I want you to go on, but that's what I'm saying. How we need to be aware. Like if I know somebody who is leaving their job after 12 years because in 5 years they only got an 80-cent raise and the boss speaks to them any kind of way. And I say, and when they were complaining yesterday, I said, listen, it's your fault because you let him get away with it the second time he raised his voice at you. Yeah. It's your fault.
And 12 years.
Your fault.
12 years is 12 years.
It doesn't matter. Like I fell in love with somebody. I had a seasonal love affair and it was magical and it was, right? Orgasmic, like you would not believe. But it was what it was. But my heart danced fiercely in that part of it, right? I can't blame him because I'm like wounded because I'm still carrying that love in my heart. I chose to fall in love in a situation. Well, not even chose. It just happened because that's how it is. But you have to, you know, it's still beautiful to me. Like, I'm like, okay, it's beautiful. But I understand both parts of it. Sometimes when you're raised a certain way and it's like, you do take all the blame, and even people in my family, if it wasn't for this person and that person, and then what badass Buddha saying, we own it, but then there's still people who fuck it up. So Sandy, what do you think? You heard both of us. Now you speak, please.
The interesting thing is when outside of ourselves, like you were saying, Lori, there are things that really are fucked up in life. Like my dad was a very vital man and ended up with a bad reaction to heparin and ended up a double amputee. Oh. And when he was in the hospital, there were so many horrible things that happened to him. And I started telling his story in my mind, like, why are these horrible things happening to my dad? And I was blaming the nurses and the doctors. And here's the thing, they really did criminally negligent things to him. So there was that piece of data. And then what I came to realize is how I held that was kind of the reality. So what I realized after this event, after he transitioned, is that it was the best time I ever spent with him, because as a double amputee, he couldn't get up and go off and work his bees and his garden and his trees. And so we had the most amazing connection of our life. And he was filled with grace. And he never would have reached that point if he'd not been in the wheelchair.
Oh, interesting.
So whereas there are things that happen to us or to people that we love, I believe that it is a divine intervention. And there's in Judaism, and Happy New Year, everyone. There is a thought that whether you're in heaven or hell is how people hold you after you pass. And I had this moment I was thinking of my dad on his birthday and thinking, oh my God, he suffered, and why did this happen? And then I'm thinking, wow, do you really want to hold him there in that kind of suffering? Or do you want to understand that he had Herculean strength that he got out of that experience? And so in that space, it was like, no, he was a phenomenal man. And he took all of those things that happened to him, and he didn't blame anybody. He didn't blame, anyone for him getting his legs chopped off, or, he just kept going. And he really taught me a lot in those final months about how to not blame. And, and how you just take it. Okay, this is what I have now. And then you just move on. And it was really it was like this bittersweet time, the worst time in my life, and yet also the sweetest time. So how you hold it. And what I've noticed is that our bodies are so wise that they know and they guide us. And when we're, feeling blue or tensing, we just feel off, we're not on the right track. Yes. And then when we step into owning and being accountable, we can feel that relax, and again, it's just this affirmation that, yeah, that's the right path. It's almost like we have an OnStar deep within that we just have to learn to listen to. And again, I think everything needs to be done with gentleness and acceptance of where we are. I mean, on any given day, I could be a hot mess. And that's just where I am. And I know the next day, maybe I won't be a hot mess. And we all have these cycles. We're all sometimes in the blame game. And then other days we're like, hell, this is whose life? Yeah, my life. And it switches around. So, but yeah, I think compassion and empathy for ourselves is right up there. I guess I'm just rambling, but those are
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful ramble because it's true. Because I think if we were more understanding and honoring to ourselves, which by the way, that story was absolutely beautiful. It was such an honoring story. But if we are that more honoring to ourselves, then we would definitely be more willing to be accountable and owning it, because we would be honoring to ourselves. Because when you blame, you take total responsibility away from yourself, and you give yourself permission not to change. That's what that means.
Not to be
Because
active.
it's somebody else's problem. It's somebody else caused this. It's not me. So I get to stay. I'm giving myself permission to stay right where I am. And so a lot of times too is that sometimes, because of the fact that we're not connected with ourselves, we're not honoring ourselves, we do that so that we don't have to deal with things. It could be fear, or it could be just arrogance. In some cases it could be just that, no, it's not my fault, it's everybody else's fault. I mean, when you're around it a lot, it's very toxic, being somebody who, there was many years where I didn't take full responsibility for the things that I did, or I did it real half-assed. And now I take responsibility for myself, but I'm still surrounded by people who either completely refuse to take responsibility, or they do that minimal thing and then they flip it, or they live in complete denial. Like they completely ignore all of it. They don't take responsibility, but they don't own it either. And that's like this limbo place where nothing changes, because they don't want to know, they don't want to hear it. And that's literally my environment, currently, is that I'm surrounded by this type of thing. And it really gets to you after a while, especially when you're an individual who's transforming yourself, which is lifelong. When you're upping yourself, and when you, like you said, you get to those moments where you're in that spot where that the big change is coming. Like that's, you pull the rope tighter, but because you see it coming and you're fearful about it, but that you have to drop the rope and just stand there and do what you need to do. So you're constantly in that influx, but it's, but you have to be strong enough to get past that. And sometimes it's not that easy, but I like that. You honor yourself and you ask yourself, what is it that I really want? What's really important to me?
Well, because we're born alone and we will die alone. And Rumi, my favorite quote from Rumi is, the cure for the pain is in the pain. So allow yourself to feel the discomfort and the pain and know that change needs to be done, and then disconnect from those who are hindering your growth into owning it. Because family or friends, there's a way we can remove ourselves from where the turning of the pot. Your story was very beautiful. I lost my dad, and then my husband, less than 2 weeks of our first anniversary, was diagnosed with ALS. So he was totally paralyzed our whole marriage. So he never said, why me? He said, why not me? Mm-hmm. I was the one who felt like, because I'm such a gypsy, that now I'm not working. I'm a full-time caregiver when I didn't even want kids because it was too much responsibility. And now here I am responsible for this man that we were supposed to be traveling. And after 6 months of sitting in the house, watching him, hoping he didn't choke, he wasn't on the trachea or nothing. But what he taught me was so beautiful. He was the 7th child, the baby of his family, number 7. My ex was number 7 out of 11. So my father was born 7/7/47. My daughter on the 7th, my son on the 27th, my first grandchild on the 7th. So I'm a 7th kind of kid, right? And then he died here in this room. And let me tell you, Eric, people would come visit him and they would leave crying and full of motivation. So yes, sometimes in our darkest moments are our brightest moments, because what we're learning in that darkness helps to carry us for the rest of our lives. And the badass Buddha, she is stronger than she gives herself credit for. Because where she's at and how she's navigating through those murky waters, it still shows true alliance to herself, and she needs to own that. It really is. And let me tell you,
I'm not blaming it. I'm not quite owning it. Yeah, and there's a difference. Yes, you're right. I agree with you.
To take care of my mom 5 months after my husband passed, let me tell you, that was very, very hard because there was a lot of resentment and just whatever. And I did it. And it was the best thing too, even through her dementia. So I thank you for sharing that story because you just invoked so many memories in what you were saying of the beauty that life does give us, because life is a balance. The universe is a balance. Well, when you do get those bad moments, just hold on.
Mhm.
Because the good ones are coming. They always follow one another. So make the right wise choices. So if you want bad to follow you around, then start making better choices. But when you're presented with a darkness, just know that the sun will rise. And be more accepting of it and saying, okay, I can get through this. What did I did wrong? What role did I play in this? And move forward. So thank you for your story, because you know what? It's people will play major roles in health like they did with my mom and your dad, but they could never take, if anything, they thought they were doing something wrong and they only added to our lives, did they not? With your father being totally present in your moment for the last remaining of his years, the way with my mom and my husband.
Can we answer a question? Because Liza had, I put this up before, but she said, I totally get it, but it's hard with family members who don't want to change, but you're trying to change. So her question is, how do you stay on track without offending anyone? That's the unfortunate thing. You will always offend somebody.
Always.
And if you are worried about staying on track without offending somebody, you will never be able to fulfill what it is that you're fulfilling for yourself, because nobody will ever fully agree with what you're doing, because they have an expectation based on their own experiences and opinions, which is their own experiences and opinions. And in fact, what do you guys, I'm going to grab a book really quickly, but talk about that. You want to talk about that piece right there? Because I have some great quotes I just read this morning that would really fit in here. So what do you ladies think, right?
Sandy?
Yeah.
You're so calming. I love your voice. I'm all over the place.
It's a really challenging place that we get to. And it only happens when we ourselves are transforming. When we are changing who we are changing every relationship that we have, because we are no longer the same people. And it is a challenge because I have relationships that span my whole life that now, because those people are not growing, are not questioning, are not moving forwards, because they're not accountable, because they're staying in the blame and victim consciousness, they're not manifesting. And so there are times that you actually have to step back from relationships, and to stuff your voice to make other people uncomfortable will only end up becoming toxic to you. Because when you cannot speak with integrity, if you have a relationship that cannot hold authenticity and truth and honoring of each other, then maybe it's not a relationship that is serving either one of you. And that may sound harsh, but that's what comes up from me.
The truth isn't pretty, and that's what people forget. You're gonna offend people by being who you are,
Yes.
because God created you to be the disruptor that you are. So when you go through life, you're touching other people's lives, and you're changing it, and you're bringing them to light. So when people say, well, don't you get upset? I said, I'm that lighthouse. That when you walk in a lighthouse and you got to go up the spiral staircase, it's dark. But when you're standing outside the lighthouse at night, it is the brightest fucking light that's going to bring people to safety.
Yep.
And sometimes that's our role in life, is to be that lighthouse. So we have to endure that inner darkness so that we can be of service and then come back to ourselves. But don't let people manipulate or take you out of your place or have you staying quiet so that you don't offend. Be offensive when it comes to protecting your spirit, because the universe provides. See, I walk with my ancestors and they're a noisy bunch. My ancestors are warriors. So we don't hesitate. If I'll tell somebody, I'm sorry if you got offended by what I say, but it is fact. Now, if I'm wrong, please correct me.
If I can jump in, let me say some of these quotes, and then I know we're getting towards the end, and Elitza came up with a really good question, but so opinions are subjective. So we know this. So if you're trying to change and people around you are resistant, it's because they have to change their story as well. Because you change, they have to acknowledge that's making them uncomfortable and they don't want to do that. So you're going to stay quiet and stay behind to accommodate them, and that's just not okay, because that will bring up resentment. So it's the truth. When they give you the truth or their opinion, it's their truth. Okay. So the more you care about what others think, the more they own you. It's not your job to like me, it's mine. But that's Byron Katie. Eleanor Roosevelt, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. My ultimate favorite, though, is where was it? I just saw it. Oh my gosh. Where is it? I lost it. Isn't that terrible? Wait. Just always remember, opinions. This is one of my favorite quotes. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has them, and most of them stink. Right? And that's the truth. And so now getting to Editha's thing, it says, what do you do when it's your child and it's hard to disconnect? And it's hard to disconnect. Okay. So first off, in mindfulness practice, we teach non-attachment. Non-attachment is different than disconnecting or because disconnecting or detached means that you don't care and that's it. Non-attachment means that you're coming from an actual place of compassion, but you are not being a part of that which does not serve you. You know, the hard part about this is, and I'm going to say this very sweetly, because I also am challenged by this, Edith. So this is not, I'm not saying it like I'm the pro on this at all, but humans are humans, adults are adults. They are grown-ass adults. Until they hit 18, they are not our responsibility. Once they hit 18, they're technically not our responsibility anymore. It doesn't matter. And even if it's our own children, the hardest thing to do is to let the child do what they need to do for themselves. And it could be a spouse, it could be a child, it could be a cousin, it could be a sibling, but or a friend. It is, you give your advice, you help as you can, but it's still up to them to make the change. And the only way to be non-attached is to no longer have them around. That's where people get the detaching piece mixed up. Detaching means you don't care, you throw them out, blah, blah, blah. Non-attachment means saying, I love you so much that I have to let you go until you figure this out on your own. And it's very hard for us to do that because we're not built that way. We are, especially mothers, we are built to the end. And how far down the rabbit hole, the bad rabbit hole, can we go? Can somebody pull us, that we allow them to pull us because we're afraid to let them go on their own and do what they need to do. And listen, it is a scary place, because I know where Edith is going with this. And Sandy's right there with you. Okay. She's going through that same thing. And it's because what's the worst case scenario? We already know what the worst case scenario. I don't have to say it. When you're talking about addiction, we know what the worst case scenario is. And if that were to happen, I know at my end, how would I be able to live with that? That's the non-attachment piece. You know, my daughter struggles with stuff. My 17-year-old, she's very bad depression and anxiety. We have conversation on this. I've asked her flat out, do you ever feel like you want to kill yourself? Are you at that level? And I can tell by her body language, her facial expressions, it's not just about what she's saying, but I could tell she's not there. But there's a point where I've said to her, I can only help you so much. And I can't, you have to, if you're at that level, we need to get you professional help, and send you somewhere to get professional help. But I cannot help you. And it would be devastating to me if she ever took the wrong choice. But it's a choice that she takes, and I would have to look at it and say, I did everything that I could. And I can't go down that hole. I mean, we've seen people go down holes with their children or spouses or parents where they've lost everything as a result of the other person. They lost all their money, their credit was devastated, their life was devastated. For what? This adult that made choices for themselves and took you along with them. But guess, again, here's the own it or blame it. Who allowed themselves to be taken there? So it is not easy, and it's something that I mean, I don't know about you ladies, but I would seriously recommend that Iditsa, what you're going through, get outside help. Go to a professional and work with a professional on how to get past that and learn the tools necessary. Because like Sandy said, we're born a beautiful slate, like clear, clean slate. And it's these battle scars that we get throughout our life that form us, and they can create courageous warriors, or they can create very fearful individuals who are afraid to take chances. We have to reverse those as we age.
We do, but I also think that, like me, my kids are 35 and 31, and my son works in New York City. So every day I tell him, make wise choices. Be aware of your surroundings. Because I'm that mother that if some gang members or something come up and hurt my son as he's working in New York City, I'm rolling in like the vigilante. You ain't
but that's your choice, and that's your choice.
And that's what I would do. And as far as you had a question, you put your hand up. Thank you for that, because that was sharing with your daughter. That's deep. Iris says Ben dear, but you put your hand up. Did you want to say something? Sandy?
Oh yeah. No, I'm sorry. No.
So she was going, amen. She's going,
yes. What she was saying about kids, because you're like, yous are different. Yous are in different scenarios when it comes to your children.
Right.
And your daughter, she did or she currently is?
My daughter is currently deep in addiction, and it's and like you said, badass. We have to get help because we're too much in it. You know, it's really hard.
You can't.
You know, it's like help me, baby Jesus. And it's critical that we just keep reaching out and learning from others. And the thing that I find, because everyone will give you a different opinion, you know, some people are like tough love, some people are like love them unconditionally. And what I believe is when someone speaks the truth, for you, it resonates at a deep level. Correct. So you just, you take it all. You don't wed yourself to any particular person, or, I mean, there's so many experts, but really at the core of it, I think you're your own expert, and you just have to, and maybe even you just have to find a container to be able to verbalize what is going on for you. And when you come out with the truth, you'll hear it, and the rest of the stuff you'll say, oh, I'm calling bullshit on myself.
Yes, and that's how you own it or blame it. That's when you actually will own it. Totally.
Yep. And you're right. I'm about the tough love, because addiction, I think it affects one person in every family. And you got to give that tough love. Tighten up, get help, or I'm going to have an intervention in your own motherfucking house, and we're going to see how you like it. I'm going to make sure to invite the person who's supplying you without her knowing she's being invited to be blown out to pieces. That's me. I believe in tough love. I believe in tough love. I believe in I'll drop you where you stand. My kids know, they're married. We're kids. They don't come out their mouth sideways with me. My son's like, your hand won't hurt anymore. That's all right. I got a back because he's big. But you know, I do. That's what I do. And they know. They'll go right up to that line before they're like, Mom, just kidding. Now, mind you, my son's big. My daughter looks like a 12-year-old and she's 35. But that's how I raised them. Don't cross that line, because I'll drop you where you stand. I've done it. They know that I'm true to my word when it comes to them. But I have to remind them that they're only lying to themselves when they are trying to be under the radar of doing the bullshit that they're doing. Because eventually it all comes to the light, right? And it does break your heart. whether it's a scenario like the badass and her daughter, whether it's your scenario with your daughter, whether it's mine and Iris's, we all hurt as parents, but we also know that there's only so much we can do. So why suffer and deny what's going on and enable them just so that they will be safe when all we're doing is causing more harm? So thank you for saying that, badass, because everybody is going through something with their kid, no matter what age, right now.
Yes.
Right now. So the stories being shared have reached the person that they needed to reach today. Or if not, someone's going to share this and it's going to reach somebody. And that's what mothers have to unite, because it doesn't matter the age of your child. It is your child. But sometimes we must be the spectator of their lives. And let them know, remember what I told you. Like, you want to, remember what I told you. You're strong. You can do it. But from the bleachers, because if we do it right there in front of them, they're just going to manipulate, because we're the moms. So I'm sorry that you're going through this, but you look strong as hell.
Yes, you do.
Your aura speaks of strength and courage. And I say that forgiveness takes courage.
Yes.
Forgetting a lifetime, letting go takes wisdom. And when I say all that, I also let people know. So I say, let's be motherfucking sages of this world. Yeah. Let's walk with our ancestors in our today and spread love and kindness and gratitude and let people know it's okay to fall, but take ownership of that shit and stand up.
Yes.
Stand up a bit taller.
Hell yeah.
I just got goosebumps, Gladiator. Thank you. Walk with our ancestors.
Thank you so much. We went over time, and then sometimes that's what we do, and it is what it is. So, Sandy, we thank you for staying on extra. And for the tribe for staying on extra as well. This was a very good conversation. So, any last words before we go, Sandy?
Own your beautiful inner divinity. Walk in power. You got it.
You got it. And yes, we would like to have you back on. I know we would. And we're sorry. This was a very passionate conversation because the stuff that, especially stuff we talked about yesterday. So I want to apologize for both of us if we talked more than we gave you time to speak. So when you're done doing what you're doing right now in Utah, bring a piece of rock with you, a red rock, and keep it in your pocket or your pocketbook. That inner pocket, keep that with you for energy. Then please let us know so that we can bring you back on, because the tribe loved you. Obviously, Liza hasn't been on for a minute, and she came on today, and she needed to hear the message you were speaking on. So, and that's what we're about. It's about providing the tribe with different scenarios, different aspects, different opinions and facts of other people. And thank you for sharing your dad's, because Liza also said that her father's an amputee. So, I mean, the messages needed to be put out there today. And thank you for admitting that your child is actively an addict. We're all addicts. I smoke cigarettes and I drink coffee all day if you let me.
I have food addiction.
So you know what? But when it's your child, you hurt and you bleed differently.
Yes, absolutely.
So thank you, Sandy LaBelle.
Yes, thank you. And anybody, reach out to me on Facebook, Sandy LaBelle, and I'm on Instagram, Sandy LaBelle 8. I'm here. Would love to connect with anybody anytime.
Yes, I posted. I'm going to do it again. I posted all your links into the chat. So all they have to do is, I believe, just click onto, I'll do it again. Those are the links for the chat. And so you can, or you could just copy and paste if you want to get in touch with Sandy. So, all right. So thank you so much, Sandy, for coming on. On Thursday, everyone, we're going to welcome back our friend, Nicole Lupashansky. Where is that? There we go. Nicole Lupashansky, talking about living behind your shadow. So we're going to actually have a conversation on the shadow effect stuff, which is going to be really powerful. So Editha says, thank you. And Editha, we are here for you. We love you. You are one of our biggest tribe member fans. So we love it. So anyway, thank you everybody for listening today. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember, breathe in, the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone. Bye.